jump into this. This is my prediction over what I think the 2024 presidential election will be, and this probably is going to be totally wrong. Like, I probably got the Republican candidate wrong. I probably got my electoral vote count wrong. So I'm just saying that before the video. This isn't like supposed to be biased to any party or anything. This is what I think would accurately happen based on what is going on right now. So let's just jump into it. So let's start. So, the United States presidential election 2024 by Mattman Productions. Ron DeSantis versus Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. Let's just start. Alright, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we got callings from the states of Indiana, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina, Vermont, and New Hampshire. A new race projection has come in at this time as well. The state of Indiana, 11 electoral votes, has gone to DeSantis at 66%. Sorry about that. With 34% going to the incumbent President Biden. This makes DeSantis have 11 electoral votes. Keep in mind that many counties voted for DeSantis instead of Biden. Only 4 counties in the state of Indiana have voted for Biden. And as you can see, the major population centers here, and here, some of them are actually Republican, but like especially down here in Warwick County, we have some Democratic voters, but not enough to flip the county into Biden's favor. All right, now we got the state of Kentucky. 8 electoral votes. We got 67% here for DeSantis and 33% for Biden. The incumbent president is not starting off tonight with a good electoral vote count margin. 8 electoral votes here in the state of Kentucky. That puts DeSantis up here to 19 electoral votes. And as you can see, the electoral vote count, the only counties, again, similar to Indiana, are the major population centers. There's also some, counties like kind of Warwick County in Indiana. There's also some counties that could flip Democratic, but they're staying Republican. DeSantis did a couple rallies here. I think he was really able to appease the population. And the state of Vermont, Biden's first win of the night. He wins 64% of the state. Every county except for Essex County right here. And he actually has the state has become more and more flipping towards the Democrats. The state has become more and more Democratic throughout the years. So this is no surprise here. Biden was always going to win Vermont. And this puts Biden at 3 electoral votes, which is definitely progress. But it's still not ahead of DeSantis' 19. Close calls in the states of Virginia, New Hampshire, and South Carolina, with Biden leading in New Hampshire and Virginia, and DeSantis trailing ahead in South Carolina. The state of South Carolina has been called with 100% of the ballots in. DeSantis has won with 57% of the vote. However, this is Biden's best showing of his entire term in office. He did worse in 2020 than he in the state of South Carolina than he did in this presidential election. So that is just really good for the Democrats, because that means Democratic influence is going up in the state of South Carolina. So let's go to the next election, folks. All right, Virginia. Virginia has become a more solidly Democratic state, and Biden has even been able to flip a few counties, as you can see right here. Definitely the Eastern Virginia, Chesapeake Bay area, that's always going to stick with Biden, and that led him to victory tonight. So that brings DeSantis still stuck at 28 electoral votes. Virginia has 13 electoral votes in total, and Biden has 16 electoral votes now. So this is definitely Biden's biggest win of the night. The race so far. This is what the race looks so far, with Republicans at 28, Democrats at 16, and a close call in the state of New Hampshire. From now on, 7:30 p.m. calls have begun, with calls in from the states of Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, West Virginia, the District of Columbia, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. A race projection has come in for the following states. The District of Columbia, the federal district of the nation, no surprises here, 81% going to Biden, pushing Biden up to 19 electoral votes. The state of Massachusetts has also been won by Biden, pushing him up to 30 electoral votes and ahead of DeSantis by 2. Every county in the state voted for Biden. Biden's first major win of the night, where he has swept every county in the state. However, actually, Biden did do a slight bit better in the state of Massachusetts in 2020 than he did in this election. The state of Tennessee has been won by DeSantis, with a few urban population centers, as you can see on this map right here, going to Biden. This is DeSantis, another win of the night, and that breaks the almost tie and puts DeSantis ahead once again. So that's just great news for those Republicans. The state of Arkansas has also been called for DeSantis. 6 electoral votes right here. That means 45 electoral votes for Biden and DeSantis, and 30 for Biden. So DeSantis won 59% here. Biden won 41%. Biden has successfully won these eastern Arkansas counties that border the Mississippi Delta. There is a strong black voter base here. And it has been proven time and time again that African Americans vote 90% in favor of the Democratic Party. And even though this is not always true, you can see that Biden has really succeeded to sweep these counties over here in eastern Arkansas. New Jersey has been called for Biden as well, pushing up to 44 electoral votes and almost tied. The state has 14 electoral votes, but DeSantis has actually impressively done well in a few of these counties, like Ocean County and Cumberland County and Somerset County. These 3 are all traditionally flip counties, but DeSantis has won all 3. But Biden can't be ignored either. Biden also won Burlington County, another one of those flip counties in the state, and he did exceptionally well in the central New Jersey region and the Hudson River region of the states. New Hampshire. Alright, another one of these East Coast states. The results have finally come in after the polls closed, but the results were still too close to call. Biden has won 55% of the state, and he's actually done better than he did in 2020. He won Rockingham and Merrimack counties, which are both traditionally swing counties, Merrimack being the more Democratic of the two. DeSantis has obviously won these 3 counties, Coos, Carroll, and Belknap. Those are traditionally Republican counties. This state is always divided when it comes to urban versus rural. That's a big theme that we're going to be seeing today. But as you can see, Biden has won like Nashua and Manchester, which are both in Hillsborough County. These are the major population centers in the state of New Hampshire. The state of Connecticut has also come in for Biden, giving him 55 electoral votes and putting him with a 10-point lead ahead of DeSantis. Biden has won 60% of the state of Connecticut, when DeSantis has only won 40%. And we can basically see the same picture that we have in New Hampshire. Urban, down here by the coast on the Long Island Sound, versus rural, like these rural counties like Litchfield, Middlesex, Tolland, Windham, versus the state population centers like Fairfield County, that's a very populated county in the state, New Haven County, Hartford County as the capital, and even New London County, another one of those swing counties, flipping to Biden this year. So good news for Biden. Delaware, now we got Joe Biden's home state. He did exceptionally well here. He actually flipped Kent County, a traditionally Republican county, this year, and he got 66% of the vote compared to DeSantis' 34%. No surprises here. Oklahoma, an unfortunate day for the Democrats. Oklahoma started off as a state where Democrats could do well in the southern parts of the state. But as times changed, Republicans started to sweep every county in the state. This is the 3rd time in a row, 2020 and 2016, the Republican candidate has won every county in the state of Oklahoma. Even the urban population centers like Norman and Oklahoma City and Tulsa, those have all gone to DeSantis this year. Same pattern with 2020, but this has made DeSantis win 74% of the vote. Biden has only won 26. This puts DeSantis at 52 electoral votes and Biden at 58. So DeSantis is definitely catching up to Biden's lead. Mississippi makes a tie between the two. 6 electoral votes have all gone to DeSantis, putting DeSantis at 58, Biden also at 58. But Biden, similar story in Arkansas. Biden has won these Mississippi Delta counties that have a predominantly black base. He has managed to win these counties time and time again throughout all of the elections that he's run in. And same story here. Like, look, he's won all of these counties except for Issaquah County, which is basically a traditionally Republican county as well. Due to a more white base instead of a black voter base living there mostly. But actually, Mississippi has voted for DeSantis, but with a considerable amount of the vote going to Biden. So this is pretty good news for the Democrats that voter support for their party is going up in the state of Mississippi. State of West Virginia, similar story to Oklahoma. Every county has been swept by Republicans. It's the same story as 2020. 2020, every county was swept by Republicans. But West Virginia actually has an even higher margin than Oklahoma. Oklahoma had 74%, West Virginia 75%. So this is not good news for the Democrats in a traditionally Republican state like West Virginia becoming even more Republican. So Biden is not doing good here in West Virginia. But to be fair to him, he did not hold any rallies in the state of West Virginia. He did not even go to the state of West Virginia on his campaign trail. He completely ignored it. So no surprise here what we're seeing. The state of Illinois has gone to Biden with 66%. Biden has done exceptionally well here. He has done better than he did in 2020. He has won all those counties up in the Chicago metropolitan area. He has won the counties on the Illinois River and Mississippi River, and he has won Illinois' 19 electoral votes, putting him ahead at a margin of, putting him ahead by a margin of electoral votes that has to be unmatched by DeSantis' margin of 62. That would be about a margin of 15 electoral votes, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm off one. But seriously, this is a big win for Biden. This is Biden's biggest win of the night so far. This is actually the biggest electoral vote count of the night so far, if I'm not mistaken. And this is Biden's win. Like, he campaigned a lot in some of these rural counties, and he was able to win them. It all paid off. Close calls from the states of Florida and Georgia. DeSantis pulling ahead by 56% so far. We'll see if that changes. And in Georgia, DeSantis is only pulling ahead by a margin of about 1%. The race so far. Currently, the Democrats are pulling ahead with 77 electoral votes compared to the Republicans' 62. Close calls in the states of Florida and Georgia have occurred, and polls have closed in Louisiana, Alabama, Missouri, Kansas, South Dakota, Maryland, and Rhode Island. Race projections have come in for the following states. The state of South Dakota, polls have closed, and DeSantis has won the entire state. Most of the counties have gone here, but some counties in the southwestern part of the state have gone to Biden due to there being a significant Native American voter base living in those counties. The counties in these part of the states have actually gone to Biden, as you can see right here. So this is slightly good news for Biden, but still it's nothing compared to winning the state of South Dakota. Like, DeSantis was even managing to win Minnehaha County, which is where Sioux Falls is, the largest city in South Dakota. So let's just jump to the next election prediction. Alabama, 9 electoral votes, pushing DeSantis to 74. Still behind Biden by quite a bit, by 3 electoral votes. But as you can see right here, Biden has been managed to win these central counties in the state of Alabama. He also won Jefferson County, which was a flip county. It's where the largest city in Alabama, Birmingham, is, and he managed to win a lot of those rural votes in the state's state's largest city. Montgomery was also won by presidential incumbent Joe Biden, and all these counties over here on the western part of the state were also won by Joe Biden. Again, there is a large black voter base that lives here. However, there's also some good news for DeSantis. He has won Mobile, Alabama, a flip city, because the city of Mobile is Democratic, much like other cities in the United States, but the county of Mobile and parts of the suburbs of Mobile are more Republican, which makes the county of Mobile Republican as well. Same thing with Tuscaloosa County, where this is where the university in Alabama is. I know Biden did a rally here last week, and it's paid off. He's gotten Tuscaloosa County closer than it ever had been. Madison County, however, and Limestone County, this is where the main Huntsville metropolitan area is, but Biden has not done well here. DeSantis did some rallies up here, I've heard, and he paid off here. So everyone basically in these in these counties that can go either way. The key is rallies. Tuscaloosa County, Biden did a rally. He got very close. And Limestone, Madison counties, DeSantis did some rallies here. He got them farther from being lean counties and more in that safe margin area. So let's flip to the next state. We got results from Kansas coming in, 61% for DeSantis. However, Biden, remember, 2020, guys, 2020, Biden actually won a few of these counties. Like, he won Riley County right here. He won a lot of these smaller counties that have smaller towns, still urban, definitely still urban, but smaller towns than places like Wyandotte County. This is the most Democratic county in the state. Biden swept this place through. I do remember he was doing some rallies here, and of course it paid off. He actually won 5 counties in this area, and Sedgwick County as well, which of course has Wichita. So that is, of course, great for Joe Biden, and he has not won Kansas, of course. DeSantis won Kansas, but Joe Biden has gotten pretty close in the last few years to making Kansas a less comfortable position for those Republicans. But still, DeSantis with Kansas takes the lead at 80 electoral votes. Missouri, this is a big lead for DeSantis. Now he's up to 90 with 10 electoral votes in the state. DeSantis won 59% of the state. Biden won 41% of the state. And as you can see, Biden definitely won some of these urban population centers like Jackson County. That's where Kansas City is. Clay County, Platte County, those are all suburbs of Kansas City. Boone County, that is where Columbia, the city, is. Warren County, St. Charles County, St. Louis County, and the city of St. Louis, those are all like suburbs of the metropolitan area of St. Louis. And all these counties down here, they are in the Mississippi Delta, so strong black voter base. We already have seen this story repeated millions of times throughout the South, and it's same in Missouri. The urban and black voter bases vote for Democratic candidates, and Republicans win the more rural areas, like up in the Ozarks here. But DeSantis actually did surprisingly well in some areas that should have been more leaning towards the Democrats. For example, the best example is probably Greene County, as where Springfield is. Springfield, this county usually votes Republican, but DeSantis actually got the largest margin of the decade here in Greene County. Or Cole County. This county is usually also votes Republican, but DeSantis actually managed to get a better margin here than the Republican candidate Trump got in 2020. So definitely DeSantis is making some gains here, but he's also making some losses, like in Boone County, which Biden did a rally here. He actually managed to flip the county by a tiny margin. So let's move on to the next data. We don't have all day, guys. Rhode Island gone to Biden by 4 electoral votes. That puts Biden up by 81. So that is a 9-point difference now. Biden has swept every county in the state. This is not that different from 2020, where I believe he also swept every county in the state. Washington County, a flip county, and Kent County, a more leaning towards the Democrat county, have both been getting more progressive throughout the decade, and Biden did do one rally here on Block Island, and it seems like it definitely paid off, like he won Washington County. That is great news for Rhode Island, so let's flip to the next map. We don't have all day. The state of Maryland has gone to Biden, giving him 91 electoral votes, up and by DeSantis by only 1 point. As you can see, Maryland's kind of an interesting state. There's this central voter base, which is made mostly of a strong black voter base and African American voter base. I know those are kind of the same thing, kind of different. But definitely a big voter base in the central part of the state where there's urban centers like the suburbs of D.C. and Baltimore and its suburbs. And he actually managed to flip some of the more flipping counties like Cecil County, a traditionally Republican county, has actually been flipped by Biden this year. Calvert County as well. Wycomico County as well. Wycomico is where Salisbury is, the largest city in eastern Maryland. And DeSantis has also won. Of course, he's won some of these rural counties, especially Dorchester County, the most Republican county in the state, and Washington County as well, which can either go. Washington County can often go both ways, but this year is chosen DeSantis as the candidate for president. And of course, these Western counties, sorry about that, they have voted overwhelmingly for DeSantis. Florida, the first key race of the night, has gone to DeSantis. All right, so we have a lot to cover here, but not a lot of time. Florida is always a key race. So the main factor in Florida is always the Hispanic, or particularly the Cuban vote in Florida. The Cuban vote, all right, Miami-Dade County. This is where the Miami metro area is. This is the largest county in the state. Biden won here, but only by a margin of 6%. That's not good enough to, 5%. To do good in Florida, you need to win Miami-Dade County by at least 8% and by at most 10%. But he has definitely done less than he was able to do in 2020. Pinellas County that voted for Biden by just a tiny bit in 2020 has voted for DeSantis this year. DeSantis is the governor of Florida, so no surprise here. Most polling and news stations were expecting that the state would overwhelmingly throw its support to DeSantis. And that is shown. A key race here, 29 electoral votes at stake. They've all gone to DeSantis. Close calls in the states of Georgia and Ohio. Biden leading in Ohio by only a margin of about 1%, and Georgia, DeSantis leading by a similar margin. The race so far, the new electoral count maps have come in. DeSantis is at 120 electoral votes, and the Democrats are at 91 under presidential candidate Joe Biden. Louisiana still has not come in, although it is looking like DeSantis will win here. And calls have come, poll closing times have finished in the states of North Carolina, New York, Minnesota, North Dakota, Colorado, New Mexico, Hawaii. The statewide votes in Nebraska and Maine, as well as the 1st District of Maine and the 3rd and 1st Districts of Nebraska. The official race projections for the following states have come through. Louisiana, final polls have closed here. The final polls were out on some of these bayou counties down here, and the state has finally come in. DeSantis won with 58% of the vote, but Biden actually did quite well here. He did some rallies at university towns throughout these states. He actually won some particularly black voter base up here in the Mississippi Delta. He also won Cato County. This has Shreveport in it. He won this county. He won some of these New Orleans counties. He won all those. But the most disappointing thing for the Democrats is that he was unable to win some of the black voter base in northern Louisiana. And even though northern Louisiana, yes, is a mostly white area of the country, there is some black voters, but you'd think that those black voters might actually make these counties closer. But unfortunately for the Democrats, he was unable to flip some of these black voters, like in Madison County, Tensas County, Bossier County. These are all particularly either swing counties or even at the most extreme cases, Democratic counties. But Biden wasn't able to flip a single one from DeSantis' grip. And that gives DeSantis 128 electoral votes compared to Biden's 91. He is now leading at a margin of 38 electoral votes. The state of Minnesota has been won by Biden. This is actually great news for Biden. Biden has done better in the state of Minnesota than any other candidate in the decade, actually. He has done really good in the state of Minnesota this year. And it's partially due to the fact that he has held a lot of rallies in the state. He realized that Minnesota was starting to become gradually more and more flipping towards the Republicans. I'm not saying that it would have flipped towards the Republicans, but he started to realize that it was gradually becoming more and more conservative. So he did a bunch of rallies. He did one in this town called Duluth right here on the Lake Superior Shore. He did one in the Twin Cities. He did one in Mankato. He did one in Winona. He did one in Moorhead. He even did one in Bemidji, and he did one in Sauk Rapids. And he did one in St. Cloud, too. So all these rallies, they have really helped Biden have bigger margins in some of these flip counties, like Carver County, a traditionally flip county, Nicollet County, another flip county, Wabasha County, Carlson County even. Carlson County voted for the Republicans last election. Now it's voting for the Democrats, if I'm not mistaken. Benton County, too, unfortunately for the Democrats. Benton County this year has gone to the Republicans. Stearns County has gone to the Republicans as well, and no surprise there. But Stearns County has had a more Democratic margin than in 2020, a more Democratic margin than in 2016. In fact, it has had a huge Democratic margin in Stearns County compared to previous years. And Beltrami County, same thing. Beltrami County usually goes for the Republican candidate, but big margin for Democrats here as well. So now I think we should move on to the next map. New York. New York is a big state, and Biden won the state. It pushed him up to 128 electoral votes, making him tied with DeSantis. 128 tie. This is very good news for Democrats. I know Biden did some rallies up here upstate. He was trying to do some campaigning over here on the Erie Canal region. Flip some of those counties like Erie County, which usually votes Democratic, but sometimes it has surprised us and voted for the Republicans. Or Oneida County, or Montgomery County, or Saratoga County, or Rensselaer County, or Columbia County, or really even Oswego County. Really even all of these counties, all these like light blue counties, have become more Democratic because Biden has done some rallies here, and that has really helped him. Like the state of New York has only gone to DeSantis by 39%. That is a really lopsided electoral vote when we're comparing it to like states like Florida. Florida, even though it was more lopsided than it was in 2020, DeSantis only won it by about 3 points. So seriously, like, this is big stuff. Like, New York is becoming more Democratic, and really, it might not even be a stretch by this point to say that the entire country has become a bit more Democratic in this election. But we'll see how that holds up in the next predictions. Ohio, a key race here going to DeSantis. Now, Republicans have won the state of Ohio continuously, a contiguous vote, since 2012. That was the last time that the state was a Democratic state. And the state is becoming more and more conservative. Now, I know I literally just said that the country might be becoming more Democratic in this election. But at least for Ohio, this is one of those states. It's a Rust Belt state. You know, a lot of the rural people are really big on the Second Amendment here, and they're going to vote to the candidate that can promise them to fix their failing cities up in Toledo and Cincinnati and fix their economy and just really be that candidate that Biden can't really be. And DeSantis is that man. So he has won the state by a margin of about 4%. That brings him up to 145 electoral votes, officially breaking the tie. Nebraska, 5 electoral votes here going to DeSantis. No surprises here. Maine has gone to Biden by about 59% compared to 41%, putting Biden up at 130 electoral votes. The 1st District of Maine, 1 electoral vote at stake here, has gone to Biden. The Nebraska 1st and 3rd electoral congressional districts have gone to Biden. Both not Biden, DeSantis. 2 electoral votes in total for both these places, putting Biden ahead at putting DeSantis ahead, by 149 electoral votes. At 149 electoral votes. The state of North Dakota has unsurprisingly gone to DeSantis, with the main Democratic counties here being due to a strong Native American voter base. The state of New Mexico has gone to Biden in partial due to a strong Native American and Hispanic voter base, with 62% of the state going to incumbent President Joe Biden. The state of Hawaii has gone to Joe Biden. No surprises here. The state of Colorado has gone to Joe Biden. Actually, a very big margin, the biggest margin in Colorado for a very long time, actually. This is one of the victories that Joe Biden might have needed in this election. Like, Colorado, it has become a more key state for the Democrats. This state in 2000, 2004, it voted for the Republicans, but just only almost a decade later, it has voted Democrat consistently and has become a stronghold of Democratic support. Close calls in Georgia and North Carolina are still going on, with DeSantis leading in Georgia and Biden leading by a very slim margin in the state of North Carolina. The race so far has come in. The official map shows that polls have closed in Texas, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, Iowa, and Michigan. The official electoral vote count is Republicans at 152 and Democrats at 150. A race projection have come through for the following states. Iowa has gone to DeSantis by 54.5%. That's about a 8% lead, I'd say. Not 8%, sorry, 4% lead, I'd say. But most of the urban population centers, as you can see here, have voted for Biden. Georgia, the first flip of the night. Remember, Georgia 2020, folks. This was the biggest surprise of 2020. This state voted consistently not consistently, I shouldn't say consistently. This state voted for the Democrats in 2020. Literally, this was a very big surprise of the night. But unfortunately for those Democrats, it has voted for DeSantis, with 50.9% of the vote going to DeSantis and 49.1% of the vote going to Biden. The reason why DeSantis did a bunch of rallies here, he saw that he couldn't let what happened in 2020 happen again, and another part of the reason why many Republican voters came out and voted for DeSantis instead of Biden is because it just wasn't Trump. A considerable part of the black voter base, the white voter base even, actually flipped to a Democratic platform just because they did not like what Trump was up to. They didn't specifically vote for Biden, they just wouldn't vote for Trump. But now that Trump is gone, DeSantis is just not Trump, many of those voters are voting for DeSantis instead of Trump, when they would have voted for Biden or not voted at all in 2020. So this is the first flip of the night. This puts DeSantis ahead at 174 electoral votes. Wyoming. This is probably one of the saddest stories for the Democrats. Wyoming at least used to have some Democratic counties in the state. This election, every county has gone to the Republicans. Nothing I really need to say here, except that Wyoming is becoming more and more conservative as it goes. Utah has gone to the Republicans by a margin bigger than what it was in 2020. They have won every county except for Salt Lake and Summit counties, the more urban areas of the state. Montana. Montana has become more and more of a flip state, not necessarily a flip state, but similarly to Kansas, it's become more of a state where you can't exactly call it safe for the Republicans anymore. Biden has won 42% of the vote here, but its 4 electoral votes have gone to DeSantis. Close calls in the states of Michigan, Texas, and North Carolina. In Michigan, Biden is leading by a more comfortable margin, but in Texas and North Carolina, DeSantis is now leading by 1 to 5%. The race so far: DeSantis at 187 and Democrats under Biden at 150. The 10 p.m. calls for the states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona have come in, as well as the 2nd District of Nebraska and 2nd District of Maine. Official race projections have come in for the following states. Michigan, a key race for the Democrats, has gone to Joe Biden. This is very good news. This is actually very good news for the Democrats. The Democrats have done so well in the state of Michigan. Joe Biden has campaigned like crazy in the state of Michigan. He has won all these urban counties and even the suburban urban counties. Yes, that does kind of rhyme. Suburban, urban. It's kind of fun to say. He has won all these suburban urban counties, all these urban counties like Macomb County, Monroe County, a very highly Republican county, has gone to Biden. Berrien County, Muskegon County, Grand Traverse County, St. Clair County, Bay County, Eaton County, Lewanee County. You can name it. All these suburban urban counties have voted for Biden. And Biden has won 59% of the vote here. Actually, Biden has done better in the state of Michigan than any other candidate of the 21st century. And he has actually done better in Michigan than he has done in Minnesota. That is a big surprise for many Democrats who were expecting that Michigan would be closer now that Trump is gone. But no, it seems like Michigan is on its path to become that Democratic state that it was in the early 21st century. North Carolina. All right, this is a big upset for Democrats. North Carolina was so close this year, even closer than it was in 2020. But it has voted for DeSantis this year. Many people on both sides have called for a recount. The Republicans are saying that their margin wasn't close enough. The Democrats are saying that their margin was probably cheated by the Republicans. And so many people have said that recounts need to occur in the state. We will see what happens, but that is a story for another time. But similar story to 2020, almost no counties except for Scotland County voted for Biden this year. No counties flipped with the exception of Scotland County. Texas, a big win for DeSantis, 40 electoral votes, putting ahead at 243. By this point, many are thinking that DeSantis is just going to win the presidency right here, right now. Texas at 40 electoral votes, this was probably always going to go to DeSantis. There's all these rural Republican red counties up here in northern Texas. It was kind of destined from the start that this county might go for DeSantis. Maine's 2nd congressional district has also gone for DeSantis. Nothing big to say here. Nebraska's 2nd electoral congressional district has gone for Biden. Big rallies here being held by Biden all over the congressional district. Close calls from the states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Nevada. Biden leading in Pennsylvania and Arizona. DeSantis leading in Nevada and Wisconsin. The race so far, DeSantis at 244 and Biden at 166. Furthermore, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, calls have come in for California, Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. Race projections have come in for the following states. Idaho has come in for DeSantis, putting him at 248 electoral votes. California has come in for Biden. Big margin here. Has flipped some traditionally Republican counties like Monterey, San Luis Obispo, Kern, Riverside, Placer, Yolo, Sutter, Butte, Mendocino. All those counties have gone for Biden. 60% of the margin has gone for Biden. DeSantis only at 40. This puts Biden up at 219 electoral votes. Oregon has unsurprisingly gone for Biden as well. Big margins in the Willamette River Valley for Biden. We are probably all aware that he has campaigned hard in this valley. Washington has gone exceedingly for the Democratic Party, 61% margin for Biden, and he has won this state. Pennsylvania, a key race for the Democrats, has been won by Joe Biden, putting him ahead of DeSantis by 10 points, 10 electoral votes. There we go. Joe Biden has flipped some of these swing counties that you can see, like York County, Northumberland County, Carbon County. These are bigger margins than they were in 2020. Let's move on to our next map. Arizona, 11 electoral votes here at stake, has gone for Biden, pushing Biden up to 269 electoral votes. That's right, folks, 269. That means that Biden is only one electoral vote away from becoming the president of the United States, staying the president of the United States, staying the incumbent. So we will see how Nevada, Wisconsin, and Alaska play out. But Arizona has gone to Joe Biden. Nevada has also gone to Joe Biden, pushing Biden up to 280 grand total electoral votes, with 50.64 electoral votes percentage of the vote compared to 49.36% of the vote. Biden has won this state better than he did in 2020. Biden has stayed the President of the United States, and his approval rating thus has gone up due to his reforms on ending the COVID pandemic that he has enacted throughout the last years. DeSantis has lost, but he has gotten very close to winning. This is actually the closest electoral race of the 21st century, with the exception of Bush versus Gore. Biden has been elected for a second term in office. Close calls in the state of Wisconsin, DeSantis leading by a very narrow margin. The race so far: Democrats at 280, Republicans at 248. 12 p.m. calls have come in for Alaska and close calls in Wisconsin. Official race projections have come in for the following states. Alaska, 3 electoral votes right here. DeSantis won with 56% of the vote, bringing up to 251. And Wisconsin, the second flip and last flip of the night, bringing DeSantis up to 258 electoral votes. Unfortunately, I think what made Biden lose here was that the vote in Milwaukee, the urban vote in Milwaukee, did not do well enough for Biden to win here. And this is the final electoral map. 280 for Democrats, 258 for Republicans, and of course these split votes in Maine and Nebraska. Now we can finally all take a breather. See you for the 2026 midterms. And see you in 2028 as well. Now I should probably say this video was researched by Mattman, edited by Mattman, counted by Mattman, produced by Mattman and his mom, and additionally supported by Mattman's grandparents and dad. Now, this was so fun to put together. If you want to see a prediction for like the 2022 midterms, I'll gladly do that. But for now, this is Universal Mattman signing off.